in 2010, they wish they did, and they don't understand that the dynamics of the 2024 bull market are the exact same as Bitcoin's first halving, when people got disgustingly wealthy from understanding it. I want to explain this to you in really simple language. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel so I can continue to teach you about Bitcoin. And also in the comments, I better put a plug in on this. Next Wednesday, I've literally done hundreds of these over the last few years. It's called free. It's a free workshop. It's called Retire Early on Bitcoin. It's happening on Wednesday. You can get a place to it. And FYI, if you're coming, these are always oversubscribed, especially in bull markets. The max capacity in my Zooms is 1,000 people, and I've got over 1,000 people registered. So if you are registered, make sure you come to the room early, because I imagine it's going to fill up. So I'm super passionate about Bitcoin, and for 4 years now, I've ran Ireland's first Bitcoin consulting company, and we've helped people to retire early by teaching them how to understand Bitcoin, the reality of Bitcoin. You see, people don't understand Bitcoin. They just look at newspaper clickbait headlines. And if you don't understand Bitcoin, then you can't use Bitcoin. But if you do understand Bitcoin, you can use it, and it retires you early. Okay. Now, I have to give my disclosures. None of you here is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You have to say this stuff. Okay. But study Bitcoin. There's not too many Bitcoiners you'll find who have used Bitcoin for 5 years or more who aren't in a position where they can retire if they want. Okay. Now, full disclosure, I have 5 businesses, so I'm certainly not retired, but I work because I enjoy business. I work because I enjoy my companies, and it gives me joy to run the companies, and I'm not stuck in the system. Okay. I can voluntarily opt out. If you guys been on the channel, you know I go to Spain every year and I spend a couple of months not doing anything, zero work, and just surfing every day and living like a bit of a nomad. Okay. So Bitcoin. How is Bitcoin going to perform? Surely I need to get Bitcoin early, and I've missed Bitcoin. You see, it doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is. What matters to you, okay, is your percentage return on your investment. That's all that matters to any investor. So the price of an asset doesn't matter. People who don't understand how to invest will think that the price of any asset is relevant. The price is the least interesting thing. The price is totally irrelevant. And I'll give you an example of that. Okay, let's say in my hand, I've got a €500 note. Okay, and I say to you, I'll sell you this note for €100. Is that a good investment? It is a good investment. Now, it's going to cost you €100, all right? But you're getting something that's 5 times more valuable. If I pointed a bit of dog poo on the ground here beside the car, and I say, I'll sell you that piece of dog poo for a penny, it's way cheaper, okay? What is it, 1,000 times cheaper? All right? Or maybe I sell it to you for 0.0001 of a penny. So it's really cheap. But is it good value? No. And this is where people get misled in the altcoin forest, and they go into all the scams and they just lose their money in crypto because they won't study Bitcoin. Okay, so price is relevant. What matters is percentage returns. Now, let me explain to you market dynamics so you understand why potentially 2024 is going to be as violently wild, okay, and as big an opportunity as we had in 2010, in the very beginning, super early. Now, I wasn't lucky enough to understand Bitcoin then. I was ignorant to it. I was building my business thinking there was more money to be made doing all that and ignoring the Bitcoin thing. Bitcoin certainly schools us eventually. So, in 2010, in Bitcoin's first halving cycle, which wasn't exactly 2010, but I'm just talking about that era when Bitcoin was very cheap, because everyone focuses on, oh, I missed it. But in that era, Bitcoin's first halving cycle, there was 7,000 Bitcoins created per day. And if you don't understand the halving, go and look at the rest of my videos or come to the workshop on Wednesday. We'll explain the halving. That's how we could predict that this bull market is coming, and that's why we built, and all our customers have done so well over the last few months. Okay. But through the process of the halving, the supply of Bitcoin chopped from 7,000 to 3,500 a day. So thousands of Bitcoin per day were no longer available. So there was a huge supply shock to the system, and that caused the price to rally and go up a lot. And a lot of people, as I said, made a lot of money by understanding that was coming and positioning yourself to take advantage of that. Now, in 2024, we have a different market dynamic. So the price of anything, okay, just to make things simple, the price of anything is found with supply and demand. The supply and demand of anything dictates the price of it. The more abundant and easy it is to create something, the lower the price will be. And the more scarce or difficult to create or difficult to get, the more valuable something will be. So that is, and also you've got production costs as well, fits in there. But just, we're going to keep this super simple. Supply and demand. In 2010, there was a massive supply crunch. Okay, so the supply changed massively. That caused an insane price correction to have to happen. In 2024, we now have a new buyer of Bitcoin. And this didn't exist up to the beginning of this year when these ETFs got approved. all right? And they're called the Bitcoin ETFs. And I've been harping on about this, how big this is for, well, we talked about it back in 2020, but once we knew that, I knew they were getting approved last year. Once I seen BlackRock had their thing in, it was like, that deal is done. Position yourself as fast as you can, as quick as you can, because once this buyer enters the market dynamic is going to change. So I said there's going to be two types of Bitcoiners. There's going to be a Bitcoiner who understood Bitcoin before the ETFs and after the ETFs. All right, and there'll be a massive difference. Before the ETFs, if you use Bitcoin, you're going to retire very early. After Bitcoin, ETFs, you're still going to retire early, but not just very early. It might take you a few years. Okay, so what the ETFs are doing is they're a new buyer, so they never existed prior to this. So they're going to create demand shock. So similar to supply shock, now we have demand shock. ETFs on average, since they've launched, are buying 4,000 Bitcoin a day. 4,000, okay? Now there's not 4,000 Bitcoin created in a day. How much is there? There's 900 Bitcoins created per day, all right? And in less than 40 days time, we go through the halving, which already causes the price to go up because of the scarcity. It becomes more scarce. And that chops the Bitcoin supply from 900 per day to 450, okay? So if there's 450 Bitcoins created globally in a day, and that's all there can ever be, and no human can ever change that. And we have this new buyer just arrived on the scene, and they're purchasing 4,000 per day. You can see this, you don't have to have a degree in economics. In fact, it's better if you don't, because most people who have a degree in economics were brainwashed into what's called Keynesian economics. So they think a money printer is a good thing. They think it's great that the central bank prints money and devalues all the money in your bank account. They think that's how you build a functioning economy. They think that that inflation is good. Inflation is silent theft. The fact that everything keeps going up in price, that's silently stealing all your wealth. But they think that's a good thing, all right? So it's better that you don't get brainwashed in a college to think Keynesian economics is good, and you actually understand Austrian economics, which is built on sound money, and it's actually built on reality, okay? Not nonsense that humans come up with to brainwash people so that we can centralize the wealth. Because that's all our existing system does, centralizes the wealth. It's a centralizing system. So it just means the wealth is transferred from you and me and everyone to the bigger entities, okay? To all the nation states. They basically extract all your wealth through the process of fiat money. Bitcoin is the total opposite of that. And that's when you learn about Bitcoin, you understand Bitcoin, you get to live a different life. There's a reason why Bitcoiners are positive. There's a reason why Bitcoiners on net are healthier than average people, okay? Because we've time to look after all that stuff. We're not stuck in the rat race, okay? And we've time to understand that the fiat money system is an absolute scam. And then we have the fiat food system, which is also a scam and nonsense. Most people have no idea what actual healthy eating is because they've been so brainwashed. That's why they try to be healthy and they can't. They're all fat as barrels. And if you actually understood how to be healthy, you realize it's fucking easy. I'm going to fast next week. I'm going to fast for 5 days, okay? And literally you can fix yourself in 5 days. But doing a 5-day fast is not much chronic injuries, illnesses that you can't fix in 5 days of a fast. And that's the beauty of this thing. So easy. Okay, so back on point, Dinny. Sorry, I'm rambling. Back on point, Dinny. We've got this new buyer entering the market. Some days they're purchasing 12,000 Bitcoins per day. There's about to be 400 mined in a day. You don't have to be, okay, an economist to realize that if the demand is higher than the supply, well, the only variable is the price. If it was anything else, remember, if this was any other good or service or commodity on the planet, because it's only Bitcoin that has this is why nobody understands it and nobody is ready, okay? If it was anything else, that's the market saying make more, create more, all right? But with Bitcoin, you can't do that. The supply is fixed. That's why it is so important. It's the first thing humans have ever had access to that has a fixed supply. The only other thing that you have access to is your own human time. That's the only other thing that's of fixed supply that you can't change or create more of. No human can create more time. Well, I'd argue you can create more time. Become healthier, you'll last longer. All right. So if you can't change the supply of Bitcoin, the price has to change. And if we have demand shock, just like in the early days of Bitcoin, we had supply shock. Now we have a new demand shock. And it's way out of kilter that there's way more Bitcoin being wanted and purchased than there is Bitcoin created. All right. Now exchanges have some Bitcoin in stock. So although there's only 900 created per day, and in 40 days that changes 450, they've got some in the back room on shelves. But once those shelves run out, people, and they're running out fast, you're going to get a face ripping rally. And if you're late to Bitcoin, you haven't understood it yet, and you don't realize that there's actually a global race that we're all in to acquire Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the scarcest, most desirable piece of property any human on the planet can own. It's just the majority of the planet haven't figured it out yet. Okay, but that doesn't mean they're not going to. We all will. This thing will saturate. We've had a slowly stage in Bitcoin. It's slowly, then suddenly. Okay, slowly, people start to learn about it. But then, just like the internet, suddenly we all just used it. We all just were onboarded. Okay, the slowly stage, I believe, is gone. Once those ETF launched, I said, that's it, line in the sand. Now we've got post ETF Bitcoin, because now BlackRock and the large Fidelity, the largest financial entities on the planet, well, they're now spending hundreds of millions to advertise Bitcoin to the world. My wife was in New York last week. She sent me a picture. Okay, she was in Wall Street, and there was this gigantic Bitcoin flag hanging over what, I can't remember which building it was, but right bang smack in the middle of Wall Street, this huge flag, Bitcoin flag, literally the size of a massive building, covering the whole front of the building, advertising Bitcoin. The world, you are not ready, people. If you're short Bitcoin or you're a Bitcoin denier, you're crucifying yourself and your financial future. Okay? Elon Musk just bought another ton of Bitcoin. Okay? If you think you're smarter than him, you're cleverer than him, you know something he doesn't know, well, comment there and say Bitcoin is nothing. It's just nonsense. It'll all go away. It's a Ponzi scheme. Great. Remain the genius. But it's going to hurt your family financially. Figure this thing out. Read a book about it. It's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. It's not okay to have the information and just to be like, oh, well, I don't admit it's wrong, so I'm just going to dig deeper. That's just silly. You only hurt yourself and your family. Share this video with more people so they see it. Come to my free Bitcoin Retire Early on Bitcoin on Wednesday. I'll put the link in the description here now once I finish this video. And keep learning about Bitcoin, because people, you are not ready for lots coming. Nobody has any idea. And people who think they missed Bitcoin, all the percentage increase that it had way back then, all those years ago, well, let's just see how this thing performs. Okay? The low of this market to the high, I think it's going to be as big as very early Bitcoin. And you have the opportunity to participate in that. Bitcoin's for everyone. Everyone can accumulate Bitcoin. I teach you how. I literally teach you on Wednesday the strategy that we use. Okay, and it's just a Bitcoin accumulation strategy with a little bit of Bitcoin education. The beauty, it's not about trading. It's not about buying and selling or moving. You guys know that. But just for some of the newer people, it's not about trading. You don't need to do that. Traders are losers. They don't make money. It's not about crypto. It's not about finding the next Bitcoin. Sorry, I'll just hang up with my wife there. She's calling me. It's not about finding the next Bitcoin. It's about understanding Bitcoin. It's about understanding this is the apex property. This is the fourth layer onto the internet. Okay? We never had a monetary layer built on the internet, and this is just going to sit right on top of it. And you have an opportunity to own a percentage of that property that the rest of the internet gets built on. Imagine you owned 0.1% of the internet in the year 2000, you were able to buy it. Are you retired early? Yeah. You're kind of like one of the wealthiest people on the planet, I think. You have that opportunity today with Bitcoin. That's why it's so important. That's why I'm passionate about pushing this information now, but it is getting critical now. This halving happens literally in less than 40 days. And then the opportunity is gone for everybody. It's never gone, but the very early retirement opportunity is gone. I want as much small entities like you watching this to understand this and start accumulating your Bitcoin. Okay? Because the bigs are doing it. The biggest entities on the planet are gobbling up 4,000 a day right now. And the price of Bitcoin is not going to stay here around 70,000 while that's happening. It's going up. And it's going up by a lot. So prepare for that, folks. The next 15 years is going to tear the faces off all the Bitcoin haters. And I don't want that to happen. I don't wish bad on anyone. Okay? But it's just a reality of what's happening. If the demand is way higher than the supply, the price has to go up a lot. So, like this video. Do me a favor. I call it the daily exercise. Look at that. So I've watched so many videos on YouTube. And I've pushed the like button so many times. It helped me build these guns. I'm kidding. If you're new to the channel, I call it the daily exercise. It helps the algorithm. It helps you try and push this content out to more normal people. All right? Because I was a normal person. I still am a normal person. But I know it's like to struggle for money. I was poor for long enough. I live in a caravan. Okay? And my mission is to try and get normal people to get off their ass, figure out Bitcoin. The bigs have figured it out and they're accumulating it. I don't want as many normal people to figure this out and create their own Bitcoin strategy for you, for your family, and for your future. So yeah, hit the like button to help the algorithm. Share this video in your WhatsApp groups. Try and push it out to people who don't understand Bitcoin. Send them it. Tell them to come on to my course. Tell them to ask me the questions that they think Elon Musk never thought of. That they're so smart. Tell them to come on and answer them. And if I can't give them an accurate answer and explain it, well then maybe they're right and maybe Bitcoin's a big scam and they're the smartest person in the world. But I don't think so. Guys, have a super day. Happy Mother's Day to all the ladies. Dinny out for now. Thanks for being here. How do we end this? There we go.